house guests, welcome to today's bbcan 9 updates and spoilers. Our house guests of the day are Daniel Fernandez and Janet Joseph. Thank you both so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so much. So thank you again, and if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Oh my goodness, you guys! So, I feel like we've seen more gameplay in the last week than we did in all of Big Brother All-Stars 2, like last US season. This week has been freaking nuts, and the last 24 hours have really delivered. So anyway, we'll get there. When we left off yesterday, the house guests were really waffling back and forth about this week's eviction vote. Josh was on the campaign trail, and he was really only focusing on 6 people because you only need 6 votes to stay this week. So he was campaigning to Kiefer, Tina, Latoya, Tara, Jed, and Ty. So just to recap really quickly, Josh was saying he'll be a shield for them because he'd be a really big target. And if Team Defender loses again and they're still doing the team twist, they can put him up on the block, and then that'll be one less person that they have to nominate, you know? So he's also telling them, I'm targeting Austin and whoever votes me out. So you guys don't have to worry about going up on the block. So this vote flip was really gaining a lot of steam. Latoya and Kiefer were pushing hard for it. And then you had Tina and Jed on the other side pushing back because they didn't want to flip it. They were worried that it would expose the alliance. They're wondering how Josh decided to campaign to these 6 people in particular, because if you look at this group of people, 5 out of 6 are in the Sunsetters Alliance. The only one that's not is Tara, so they're just missing Beth. Does Josh know about our alliance? Like, what's the deal with this? So that was freaking them out a bit. But then they seemed to jump on board and want to do the flip when Kiefer explained how he was the one that planted the seeds in Josh's head to campaign to these people. And he was like, don't worry, I didn't say like that we're all in a group or anything. Like, Josh doesn't think we're all in a big group. He sees like little groups that he could pull together. So it would be like Kiefer on his own, of course. And then Tina and Tara together, and then Latoya, Jed, and Ty together. So that makes up that group of 6. So Kiefer was also pushing that Rohan has been dropping Tina's name as a potential nominee if he were to win HOH. So, of course, Tina didn't like that, and she was like, well, I guess I'm on board then, you know, hearing that information. So, things were really looking like they were tipping in Josh's favor, but we are not done yet. Okay, so Jed and Ty were having a little game chat in the HOH tub. Okay. This seemed really risky too, because they were talking about a bunch of the house guests and the vote coming up, and some of these people that they were talking about were hanging out in the HOH room at the time, and the bathroom is like not completely closed off from the HOH room, so I don't know if anything was overheard. It didn't seem like it, but it was definitely super risky. I mean, Austin, Braden, Beth, Victoria, they were all in the HOH at some point. I'm not sure if other people were, but that's who I saw. So, anyway, to the game chat. So, Jed says, at the end of the day, it would be a wasted... I can't read. It would be a wasted week to get rid of Josh. You know, he's not really a big threat here. And Ty agrees, yeah, we can use him as a shield for as long as we need him. You know, let's take out the bigger player, Rohan. So, Jed says, if he wins HOH next week, his plan is to put up Tara and Victoria, and he would want Tara to go. That's so lame. Wouldn't you try to take out Kyle before he can avenge Rohan? Like, hello, you'd be making a big move by taking out Ro. You're not gonna like finish the job and take out Kyle. But Jed seems to be after Tara because she said that she might put him up. She might have to put him up if she wins HOH. Plus, she suggested him as the replacement nominee this past week. But, like, even with that being said, aren't there bigger fish to fry? I feel like Jed is not, like, the smartest, game-wise. But they realize a few things here. Okay, so they realize they could be in big trouble with Austin if they vote out Josh. Because remember, Ty and Jed are supposed to have this 4-person alliance with Austin and Beth. So if they go against Austin's wishes as the HOH this week, I think she would probably question it, right? I don't see her being happy about that. So they're also kind of weirded out about Kiefer not being more upfront about how much he helped Josh with his campaign strategy this week. And it's making them wonder, is he hiding other stuff? Like, what else is going on here that he's not telling us about? Also, is he, like, trying to trick us into doing what's best for his game only, and that's not going to be good for us? Like, what's the deal here? So, another thing that they're kind of thinking about is, what do we do with Kyle? They're wondering, should we tell Kyle about the vote ahead of time? And maybe, like, we can try and save face with him and maintain that truce that all the big athletic guys are not going to go after each other. So, they're thinking maybe we can tell Kyle that he'll be less of a target without Ro here, because the two of them together is very threatening, but if it's just Kyle on his own, it's not going to be as bad. And they'll let Kyle know that he is still not their target. That's so dumb. I don't see Kyle buying that. So the feeds were in and out a lot last night. It was really tough to follow all the waffling and flip-flopping that was happening. But from what discussions I did hear, it seems like Beth was the one that really started to turn things around and change things so that Josh would be leaving again. It seems like she really started tanking the vote flip because the guys started to get suspicious, or not suspicious, they started to get kind of like weirded out. They weren't sure if this was the right move for them. And every time they were like, oh, I don't know, like I'm thinking about it again, they would say, I just talked to Beth and now I feel not great about it. So it seemed like she really put some doubt in them about this move. So later, Kiefer and Ty were chatting in the ball pit, and Kiefer's like, I don't know, man, I'm having second thoughts. I think it's more like sixth or seventh thoughts. I mean, they've been back and forth on this so many times about flipping the vote. But it's funny because Kiefer was one of the ones pushing the hardest for this vote flip earlier in the day. But I think he's remembering, like, oh crap, I have a really great in with Ro and Kyle. Maybe this is not a great move for me. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. So Kiefer says, this move just feels really risky and I've got an uneasy feeling about it. And Ty is like, me too. Ty worries that this move, getting rid of Ro and saving Josh, could really expose him and Jed with Kyle and Austin. Again, he's got that side alliance with Austin. So it's Ty, Jed, Austin, Beth. And then he's got like the bro truce with Kyle and Ro. So Ty is like, how can I frame this to Kyle and explain like why this is happening, why I shouldn't like get in trouble for this, like why he shouldn't be mad at me for this. I feel like this concern that that Jed and Ty have for Kyle should be a red flag to the Sunsetters. Why are they putting their side alliances and they're standing with them above the well-being of the Sunsetters? And I think that's an issue that a lot of them are dealing with right now. A lot of them are trying to maintain their side things, but Ro is like going after members of the alliance. I guess they're not all fully aware of that. But yeah, I just feel like they're putting their side alliances first right now, and they're kind of like missing the big picture here. But then again, they don't have the full picture. We got to remember that. So yeah, as I've said before, Rohan and Kyle want to target Jed soon. So you would think that they would want to get Ro out, but I guess they don't believe that information, even though Josh was sharing it during the house meeting. They don't want to believe that that's true. So, yeah, Ty is saying, I don't want to flip this vote unless we can come up with a plan to execute it so that Jed and I come out clean with everyone. you're going to have consequences when you make moves, you know? So Kiefer is also worried that Kyle is going to come after him if he votes out Rohan, because they're supposed to have a 3-person thing. Kyle, Ro, and Kiefer. And, yeah, they feel like if Ro stays and he wins HOH, he would put Tina and Tara up on the block, and then they could just vote out Tara. I'm pretty sure that's not who Ro would put up on the block, especially when he finds out that there was a potential vote flip this week and it wasn't just like smooth sailing, because he will find out about it. And Ro has already talked about wanting to split up the throuple, Beth, Ty, and Jed. So once he finds out about this potential flip, it's only going to fuel the fire there. So moving on, Latoya, Tina, and Tara, they're all on board for this vote flip to keep Josh. But they're aware that the guys are getting cold feet, and that's not making them feel good. You know, Tina and Tara are really starting to have doubts again. Latoya is still saying, we got to do this. We got to get rid of Ro. You know, we got to stick with this plan. So then Latoya and Beth were discussing the vote in the bathroom, and Beth says, I don't like this vote flip. It's really bad for the guys. Oh my God, don't do that. So, again, they don't realize this, but it's actually better for the guys if Ro were to go, because he is targeting them. So Latoya says, well, this would be really good for the girls. You know, if Kyle were to win HOH, he's coming after me or you. You know, the guys have this little, it is a spoken thing, that they're not going after each other. So, like, who do you think they're going to go after? It's going to be us. Which is totally possible. I think he would probably put up Beth and Jed at that point. So it's, you know, mixed. But they're both in the Sunsetters Alliance. So Latoya says this would also be good for the guys in that it's going to weaken Kyle. Even if Ro directly is not going after the guys, she thinks that they need to weaken Kyle. So Beth is like, yeah, but it's going to burn the guys' bridges with Kyle and Austin. Plus, her and Kiefer's names are going to be tossed around when people are trying to figure out who flipped, because a bunch of them are going to be lying about their vote, and Beth is nervous about her name getting dragged around. She also was talking about how because she's going to be lying about her vote to save face with Austin, she's going to feel like, she feels like it would look weird if she was still super tight with Jed and Ty, since this is supposed to be some secret that they kept from her, and she's supposed to be all, like, betrayed, and she's going to have to act like she doesn't like them anymore, and she doesn't want to hang out with them. So I'm wondering if part of it is, like, she doesn't want to give up her double showmance thing. I don't know, like, that is such a huge part of her strategy, so maybe she's just not willing to put in the acting. I don't know. But anyway, Latoya's like, are you playing for someone else's game? Or for what's in the best interest for your game? So she says most of us in the group benefit from this. And she says either way, it's got to be a group decision. And Latoya also says either way, I'm going to be on board with whatever we decide as a group. So this whole conversation was very calm. It was a logical strategy chat, but after Latoya left the room, Beth whispers, don't be so aggressive with me. If this is a group decision, make it one. We can do without the microaggressions, Beth. I mean, really, it's ridiculous. So, moving on. More conversations about the potential vote flip. Latoya is still pushing for it. She's one of the only people still pushing for it. Tara is getting cold feet, and Latoya is telling her, pretty sure that Ro would put you up on the block if he stays and wins HOH. I don't think so. Tara is pretty close with Ro, and he wants to break up that throuple. But Tara is like, well, can I, like, talk to Ro about it? I want to get some clarification from him. And they keep telling her, no, don't talk to him. You're going to, like, blow up this whole plan. Don't do it. Tara's freaking out. So what's up with Rohan in all this? You know, I feel like I barely saw Josh last night. After he made his pitches, he kind of just, like, laid low for the rest of the night, which kind of worked. I mean, not really, but like, it would have been too much if he kept, I think, stoking the fire. So, you know, whatever. So let's talk about Rohan. He was checking in with people because he's starting to get a little bit nervous here. He was chatting with Jed in the HOH room, and Jed says that he is still on board with the plan to vote Josh out. But he's like, the only thing that would kind of like make me waver, I just want to make sure that you wouldn't put me up on the block if you won HOH. Like, you wouldn't put me up, right? And Ro was like, of course not. Even though PB 2.0, Pretty Boys 2.0, isn't officially a thing, we're boys. I'm looking out for you. I'm looking out for Ty and Kyle, who I believe they call Kyle Stu for some reason. I don't know, but sure. So it's like gross, this guy's thing, but also it's a lie. Like, Kyle and Ro are definitely down to go after that throuple. So Jed asks who Ro would put up if he were to win HOH, and Ro gave like the lamest answer ever, but I feel like Jed fell for it. He was like, oh yeah, I think I would talk to Ty about it and see what he wants to do, since it would be people from his team that I would be putting up on the block. You really think that's true? Give me a break. Oh my god. That's ridiculous. But Jed seemed to buy it. So then Ro goes to the OLG room to chat with Kyle, and he's telling him all about his conversations that he's been having with people. And he's like, shit, I knew this was going to happen. He's starting to feel like people are considering voting him out. He's feeling weird vibes from Jed, Ty, Beth. He doesn't understand how Josh is getting in people's heads at this point. And Kyle is also noticing weird vibes, but he's telling Ro, don't get too paranoid. That's what makes people go crazy and start spiraling. So, like, don't fall into that trap. He says, you're staying this week, and next week we're making some effing waves. Like, he's talking about putting up Beth and Jed. So then Kyle's like, there's no way that they would try and flip this vote without talking to Austin about it. Like, they're not going to go against the HOH's wishes. Excuse me, this is bbcan, not BBUS. So, they could definitely go against the HOH's wishes. But anyway, Ro continues to check in with some people. He talked to Brayden, Tina, Tara, just to see, like, what's going on and make sure that he has their votes. Meanwhile, Kyle is checking in with Jed, and Jed again is saying that he's voting Josh out. So then Kyle's like, well, what changed the vibe of the house? Like, why is it so weird right now? What's going on? And Jed says that the Taras of the world are extremely paranoid, and like, she would probably be down to flip this vote because she's so paranoid, blah, blah, blah. He's trying to blame this vote flip on Tara. Yikes. So Ro and Kyle reconvene in the OLG a little while later, and Kyle's like, straight up, he's been given this information that supposedly Tara was the one that started this vote flip, but he says, I feel like Latoya is the one trying to spearhead the flip. And Latoya definitely wasn't the first one to come up with this plan, but she was definitely one of the ones pushing for it the most. So Kyle's like, I know for a fact that it's Latoya pushing for this. Jed and Ty are trying to make me think that it's Tara, but Victoria told me straight up that it's Latoya. Victoria has such a big mouth. Like, I don't know what she's doing, but it's definitely entertaining. It is messy, but entertaining. And they now feel like they can trust Victoria, and they're wondering, like, did Kiefer know about this? Oh, hell yeah, he was pushing for it. Because they're supposed to be close to him. Did Tara know? Did Tina know? Like, what's going on here? So things are, like, getting ready to freaking blow up. So then, by the end of last night, the vote flip seemed pretty dead. You know, it seems like Josh is going and that Rohan is going to stay. Latoya is really the only one wanting this vote flip to happen, and it doesn't seem likely. So this morning, Tara and Tina were talking to Rohan, and there was a lot of information exchanged in this conversation. They're letting him know, you know, people are trying to flip the vote on you. They're trying to get rid of you. And they're telling us that you would put us up on the block if you were to stay and win HOH. And Rose says that is not true. I would never put you guys up. Like, we're working together. We're good. and they say, okay, well, we're not voting you out, so you don't have to worry about us. And then, like, Rohan lets them know that people were trying to pin the vote flip on them. Ah! So, yeah, it's pretty wild. But the eviction is tonight, and just to let you guys know, the feeds were down most of the day today, as they usually are on Thursdays, because they film their episode not live. It's earlier, so they usually don't have the feeds on very much in the morning. But anyway, it's eviction night. It's not looking good for Josh. I mean, you never know what could have happened today. I have no idea what happened when the feeds were down, but it could have been freaking wild, because that house is a powder keg right now. And if it is Josh going, I'm gonna miss him, because I think he's just such a unique individual that we don't see on shows like this very often. But at the same time, if Rohan does stay, I think it could be very exciting. You know, if we get a Rohan or a Kyle HOH, that would be epic. I think that could be the end of the Sunsetters, because you know they would all be selling each other out, and it would be very entertaining. And I just don't know that Josh would make a big move like that. So that's where we're at. I'm thinking that Rohan is going to stay, but who knows what's been going on today. So let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments. And until tomorrow, when we have a new HOH, much love.